spend a couple of minutes with Popcorn and I in my art studio as I create some designs for stamps. So when Creative Expressions asked me to create some Christmas stamps, the first thing that popped into my mind, now last year I was fairies. I had wish you a fairy Christmas because fairies. This year what popped into my mind was Merry Cutemas. Don't ask me why. That's just what popped in my mind. And in the background here, you can see one of the cats that I created. And I had to make them Christmassy somehow. And I thought, well, what happens if you could dress them up and you could make them be wearing an ugly Christmas sweater, if they could wear a Father Christmas beard, a paper crown, a nice woolly scarf, carrying candy canes and having holly and just accoutrement symbols of Christmas. So that's where it started. So I've got Tiger Tim and Schmooze, two childhood cats, my sister's cat and my cat when we were kids. And I sent that off to Creative Expressions to say, hey, is this too weird? And everyone loved it. And I thought, okay, well, I need to also include my little fur gentleman, Zorro and Popcorn. So Popcorn, you can see his nose there in the corner of the screen, kissing me as I'm drawing, and Zorro is who I'm drawing. And I wanted to show you the process. So I didn't film myself drawing. Actually, I may have done them in a live stream, but I haven't got the footage of me drawing Tiger Tim and Schmooze. But I did hit record when I was drawing Zorro. And I'm using what's called a light box. So it's just an illuminated surface. It's fairly flat, low profile. And it allows me to keep the same scale, because what I wanted to do was have all of the different little accessories that the cats could wear. I wanted to create more accessories for the Popcorn and Zorro stamps, and I need the scale to be the same so that everything mixes and matches, because we would like to be able to dress all of the little Cutemases up. So that's why I'm using the light box. So I would have done the same process when I was creating my paper dolls, because I've got the paper doll and then I wanted her to have different hairdos, different wigs, and to keep the scale of the head so that it matches the body in some sort of proportion. That's how I create them, and I can use the light box, which is really helpful to do that. And then actually, in my last stamp collection, I even added more wigs in. I kept the scale of the star power drawings or stamps so that they can also match back to that paper doll. I'm always thinking of how things can be useful and mix, match and coordinate so that you just keep using everything that you've got. I digress. So back to the job at hand. I've got a very cute little photo of Zorro when he was just a wee little pup. And just here he is, fully grown, gorgeous. This is our little walk at the beach this morning. There's Popcorn, and that's Gesso, that's Angus's feet. And that's Byron Bay. Lighthouse in the distant, little bit overcast. Oh, isn't it lovely? Nice winter morning. Anyway, back to the drawing. I'm using some of my finishing line pens, and I'm using levitation paper. So levitation paper is very, very fine, so it's terrific for showing through with a light box. I can see my sketch underneath, but it's not too full on like it would be with tracing paper. I don't like using the window pane paper or tracing paper when I'm doing something like this. Oh, excuse me, Popcorn, you're in the way there, love. And, well, luckily, the finishing line pens dry very quickly, and they're waterproof and permanent and all those nice things. So they're terrific for this sort of process because, well, my dog just walked on it on my drawing. So it's not going to smudge and smear and not going to rub as I'm moving my hand. I've got lots of different nibs in this set. There's 10 different nibs. So I've got different variety of line, so that as I'm creating, I can get more variation, because I can't add colour to this. When when it gets turned into a stamp, you're going to lose a bit of detail, and I need the lines to be a little bit robust, but I need variety of lines so that the stamp looks hand-drawn and has the energy and the joy and the freedom I was feeling as I was creating. I feel like I can transmit the happiness through the drawing into the stamp. This is what's in my brain at any rate. And then once I've finished my drawing with my finishing line pens, I take and scan this really nice high-res good scan. I can tidy up any things that need to be tidied up, and then I need to treat this so that it gets converted into a special type of file so that it can be made into a stamp. The files will get emailed off to Creative Expressions, and then the first tests come back. Hopefully they're fantastic as is, but sometimes some little changes need to be made. And I've got Zorro and Popcorn and Schmooze and Tiger Tim as stamps. And I just think they're so cute. We've got top hats, fairy light necklace, flowers, candy cane necklace, little paper crowns, a thought so you can, because they can't really talk, can they? Of course, they're wearing sweaters and glasses, like Dame Edna glasses, Father Christmas glasses, like, of course, a halo, but they can't talk. I mean, that would be ridiculous. So they can think Merry Christmas. So there's a thought bubble there for you. And of course, you can draw other elements as well. This is my response to Merry Cutemas. Or Santa Paws and Happy Catmas. So now I need to test the stamps. So I've got a page here in a journal that's called Smooth Operator, and this is a very smooth art card. And I'll be the first to admit I'm not that great at stamping. I know that some people, because I see them on the internet, are just, every stamp they do is just perfect. Now, mine are not going to be perfect, but I'm trying. So anyway, I'm getting some ink on here. I've been given lots and lots of tips on how to get better stamping. But the reason my stamping process isn't perfect is I'm not always on a flat surface. I'm in an art journal because this is how I choose to create. And I'm stamping over pencil. I'm stamping over paint, I'm stamping over collage, I'm stamping over lumps and bumps. So nothing's ever going to be perfect. It's always going to be a little bit higgledy-piggledy. The things that help me are, of course, getting the ink, enough ink on. It's always handy. When you've got brand new stamps, you really should do a test stamp first, but I'm a rebel and I don't play by the rules, although I should. And I should be stamping on some nice plain paper and getting a perfect impression. But I'm just so excited to get a stamp of my little Zorro and Popcorn that I'm just jumping straight in. And I'm stamping over some colour swatches, some tests of my Magic Wand pencils. So my journals are full of swatches of tests because I'm testing the formulas, I'm testing the qualities, then I'm testing the colours, and then I'm also testing the way the colours go together in different sets. So I have pages and pages of swatches, and once I've finished them, I've got the information out of them that I need. I've done that experimentation to work out which colours, etc. So I just journal over those pages and they just become backgrounds. So that's what's going on in the background. But isn't that a lovely background idea? Just swatch out beautiful colours and then stamp right over the top of them. So I've got my Zorro, Popcorn, here comes Schmooze. Now Schmooze was, well, when we bought her, she got very, I thought she was pregnant. I took her to the vet. I had her as a kid. And I took her along, and the vet said, Well, this is quite unusual because this is not a lady. This is a man for a start. And I was like, okay, tomcat, great. And you're feeding it too much. So what are you feeding the cat? And we went through what I was feeding. He said, okay, this cat's getting fed somewhere else as well. So you need to follow him and be sneaky about it. So I followed Schmooze. He had 3 other houses. We lived right very, very close or next door to a private girls' school that had a boarding house. And so Schmooze would see the day bugs, who were the girls that came to the school each day and went home. They're called day bugs. So he would get a little bit of food from them at lunch. He'd go visiting around. So they thought he was the school cat. Then he would go to the boarding house in the evening and he would get, a few little, beautiful cat. One of those flippy floppy cats. You pick them up and they're all ragdolly and relaxed and love everyone. So he just was below. Everyone thought he was their cat. So he was getting fed by the people who looked after the schoolgirls. And then, of course, the boarders, the schoolgirls, they were feeding him again at night. And then he also used to go and visit a little old lady down the road. So, yes, that was the Schmoozo, schmoozing around, very aptly named. And Tiger Tim, who was his brother, who I've just put the stamp down there, was the most hyperactive cat you could ever imagine, and very beloved pets they were. So it's only fitting that they are now dressed up as beloved pets at Christmas. So Zorro's going to get an ugly jumper, and Poppy's going to get a beautiful bow, or we'll just wait and see. This is one of the things I love about stamps, and stencils are the same. You can audition your ideas because you can place them and work out what it is that you would like to do before you do it, before you put any ink on, whatever. So should Zozzy have glasses? Should Zozzy have a little halo? Should Popcorn have the glasses? We'll just wait and see. Wouldn't this be a fun process to do with a young artist in your family? Get them to help you. They can make the decisions. Mind you, anyone can do stamping. If I can do it and make it look halfway decent, literally anyone can do it. My other weakness is gluing. If you would like glue to get everywhere, get me to glue something. So between stamping and gluing, I am getting better at my stamping. I'm impressed with my stamping so far. Now, if you were properly organised, you can plan a little bit more with how you place the stamp so that you don't get any show through of the lines underneath. So see when I put down the little, so funny, the little moustache and beard of the Father Christmas and the hat, the ears are going to be showing through and a little bit of the chin. But if you got a little bit clever and blocked things out with a little bit of post-it note or a little bit of paper beforehand, you get a much clearer or cleaner impression. What I'm going to do is just take away any little lines that I don't want with paint pen. So I'm using the musical markers, which have got an opaque white ink in them. I still want the background colours to come through, but I just want to not have his chin shape there. So I'll massage that as I go. Maybe I want one of his ears to disappear so that his hat is coming in front of his ear so it would stay on his head. But these are the little creative decisions that you can make as you're trundling along. So I'm using the white marker, which is really quite lovely and opaque. I'm using that really as like a fancy whiteout, letting it dry enough and then putting a little bit of black pen over the top. The pen that I'm using is the Wonder Writer. It's actually a labelling marker that's even writes on plastic, and because I do a lot of DIY inks where we're mixing things and putting them in other bottles and spraying, I needed a labelling pen that would be fine and write on everything. So that, just so you know what it is that I've used. And I've just popping a little bit of ink on here for a nice little sweater. And I haven't put ink on the top little part of the sweater so that it wouldn't be in his face. Now I'm getting a bit smarter as I'm testing my stamps for the first time and being a bit more, I'm thinking a little bit more about how I'm placing them and that sort of thing. So I thoroughly encourage you to do that as well. I love the whole process. But you could even use these, like you could stamp these out and, you know, create some little colouring sheets for small visitors or for everyone. Well, people don't have to be little kids to do colouring in, that's for sure. But just some fun activities that are a bit creative on Christmas or in that festive time. And even if you don't celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday, perhaps, it's still a beautiful festive time of year. And it means it sort of has, of course, it's very focused around religious elements. But it's a celebration at the end of the year that everyone's invited to. It's a party to celebrate family and friends if you want to. Think back on what you've been grateful for the year and just be grateful that you've made it through another year and we've got another year ahead of us. So now Schmooze is in his top hat and he would have loved that top. He totally would have been like Top Cat with his top hat and his bow tie. He just needs a cane and off he would be tap dancing into Merry Cutemas. Poppy is thinking of a lollipop, which is very, very appropriate. And Tiger Tim is wearing a very fetching alpine scarf, nice and warm. And he's got some holly in his hair just to make everyone feel fun and festive. Schmooze just got a Christmas fairy lights necklace as well because he's the mayor of Cutemas town. There are candy canes going on here and there. Zorro just got some gold Father Christmas glasses. And everyone's getting a little touch of fanciness here and there. Oh, and this little round thing that I'm holding in my hand, incidentally, is the Santa Baby colour wheel. It's layer cake paint, which is sort of a hybrid between watercolour and gouache. It's its own thing because it does some stuff that acrylic does as well. But the colours are fantastic for Christmas. So, of course, I'm using that because I've got red and green in there and gold, silver, black, white, all the Christmas essentials, basically. So once I've done a test print of the different stamps and I'm happy with how everything is working together, I then give that the approval and the go-ahead to Creative Expressions. Or if there are changes that need to be made, we work on that, but this was ready to go ahead. And now I need to work on the artwork that's going to go on the packaging. So I've got some examples of how I envisage the stamps can be used and how people can get the idea just from a few sample pictures on the package. So I want this to look really, really beautiful so that it inspires people. And it's also a nice picture that people can keep and collect. And my challenge, though, is to not paint them all to look like my beautiful Zorro. I need to make these will have lots of variety. So I'm using watercolour. This is from the new colour library. There's 24 colours. They come in tubes. And I've put that paint into my scale-shaped pans. Those are all part of my collection that's exclusive to my website. And I'm using a fairly small brush from the Brush Ballet collection and just trying to get the different colours of dogs. Now, Zorro is a Pomeranian, and the reason I love Pomeranians so much is they have that little smiling face and they just are a very happy little dog, and I just adore the breed. It's just a very nice little thing. And this is some of the colours that Pomeranians come in. They also look a little bit like a raccoon, a bear, and a red panda, don't you think? So that's the little pictures I did of Zorro. Now on to my Cutemas, to Schmooze and Tiger Tim. And Schmooze with the flower on the top of his head. That poor cat, he used to get dressed up a little bit. It was my childhood pet, and he was a very docile, well-fed creature. So I've been quite careful with how I've placed the stamps here so that they are overlapping, and I've got that all happening very nicely so that when I paint everything, it's going to be very clear and you'll be able to understand exactly what it is. I love the Father Christmas in the middle with the full-on reflector Father Christmas glasses. And don't you think Tiger Tim down in the right-hand bottom side there looks like Harry Potter? Fully Harry Potter vibes. That's what he's giving me. So I've did all of the cat's eyes different colours. And I must say, I don't paint cats that often because I don't have a pet cat, so I don't really think to draw them that often. But it was very fun to draw these ones. And so I've got Father Christmas and a little elf, Harry Potter / Tiger Tim. And I need to get some variety in the cat. So I've got more of a tiger in the middle, and now I've got a bit more of a tabby cat. Is that what you call it when they're different colours? I was really thrilled with how they looked out. Very easy to do with watercolour. Tiger Tim, that was his colours. He was grey and white, so that's actually how he was. Schmooze was sort of a blonde colour and he had matching eyes. So we used to call him a calico cat because he was the cream colour of calico fabric and his eyes were the exact same colour as his fur. He was a very attractive gentleman, as we discovered. Before that we thought it was a very attractive lady. This little cat with his glasses and his baby blues, who could resist that little man? Ah, gorgeous. And the little cat up the top with the flower headphones. My heart is just cute. And the Dame Edna glasses, why wouldn't you? So I didn't add too many Christmas accessories, well, any really, to that particular cat because I want you to also remember that, of course, a cat, a puppy, is not just for Christmas, it's for all year round. So you can enjoy these whenever you need to enliven anything with a little furry friend. A little Schmooze, a Tiger Tim, a Popcorn or a Zorro. Or whoever these little ones remind you of. Now, last but definitely not least is the stamp form of Popcorn. And you may know a little dog or cat or creature, even a person that's like Popcorn. He's tiny on the outside. My little Poppy maybe weighs 2 kilos, but on the inside, he's a skyscraper of love. So do you know a little furry creature that just has no idea how tiny they are? And they're just as brave as all get out and just such funny little things they are. So this tiny little dog, I mean, I love it in its little blondie colours like I have the actual real Popcorn. But, of course, we want other colours as well. And you can paint them whatever colours. You don't even have to keep them realistic. You can change them for whatever you like. My girlfriend did just send me a little bit of footage. She was at a festival and there was a little dog that just looked like Poppy but with long legs and a rainbow coloured tail. Oh, Poppy would rock a rainbow coloured tail, so you could do a rainbow coloured dog if you wanted to. But I've added a dog with a spot over its eye, like my little Moochie when she was that was a little terrier of mine. When she was a pup, she had, the big black splotch over one eye. As she got older, that disappeared and she turned pure white. But it was so cute. I love it when dogs have splotches and spatters. As long as they're healthy, it doesn't really matter what they look like. Dogs are just angels on earth, really. So in this stamp set, you've got different accoutrements that you can dress your little creatures up in. And of course, remembering that you can use any of the ties or hats or accessories with any of the cats or with the other little Merry Cutemas stamp set as well. And of course, you can also add these accessories to any of my other stamps as well. I literally only just thought of that then, but I could use the top hat and the flowers and all sorts of things on my paper dolls. I'm going to have to go and try that next. And that's the story of how this Cutemas came together. We have Santa Paws, Kitty Christmas and Merry Cutemas. Santa Paws has 10 different stamps inside it. Kitty Christmas has 8 different stamps inside it. And Merry Cutemas has 9 different stamps inside it. And they can all be intermingled, interchanged. You can swip and swap them as you like. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and the fun that I had creating the stamps I think is fairly evident. These are my favourite little creatures that I'm drawing here. Now, because this is a collaboration with Creative Expressions, you can get these sets from any fantastic crafty, arty store that stocks Creative Expressions. If you don't see it there, send them a message and say, hey, can you get me these? If you've got a favourite store, and I'm sure they'll be able to get them for you. And of course, you can always find everything that I do at janedavenport.com.